Olivia Gatewood was like a priceless art piece tucked away in the attic and forgotten about. After Desi Green's book was published, naming Olivia as the one who actually pulled the trigger on the gun that killed her husband, Julian, all those years ago, investigators began sniffing too close to the Gatewood compound. Jordan did what he had to do to protect his mother, and she'd resented him for it ever since. Oakwood Assisted Living was one of the premier and most exclusive senior communities in the country. It cost more to live there than most people made in their lifetimes, but she hated it. Jordan had had his mother, who suffered from dementia, placed under the direct care of one of the most prominent physicians in Texas. Detectives couldn't talk to her without a doctor's approval, and as far as he was concerned, Olivia Gatewood was physically and mentally not well enough for questioning. It was the third Sunday. Edgar always visited her on the third Sunday. Some visits were better than others. Today, she knew who he was. Olivia was in her full presence of mind, and when she was sharp as a tack. Edgar watched admiringly as Olivia's long, slender fingers expertly manipulated those knitting needles and lavender-colored yarn. Well into her 70s, she was still a breathtaking-looking woman. Edgar had always marveled at how lovely she was, and he'd always been dumbfounded by Julian's indifference to this woman. She was elegant, intelligent, and she loved Julian Gatewood, literally to death. "I warned you not to marry that fool," she said disappointedly, shaking her head and curling her lips at the corners. "He was beneath her, and I told her as much, but her silly behind had to try and prove something," she said, glancing at Edgar. "If I told her to go left, then she went right. If I told her to go ahead and marry the man, she'd have dumped him like a hot potato." Edgar nodded. "June never did like following the rules." "She never liked following my rules," she corrected him, "even when they're right." June had divorced her husband and moved back to Dallas as soon as she had, and she'd moved into a position inside the family business. I guess she's got something to prove now. When she was right in her mind, Olivia was acutely aware of everything and everyone. She's got another thing coming if she thinks that brother of hers will sit by idly and let her take over the business. Jordan loves his sister, but he loves his position at Gatewood Industries more. "He'll accommodate her to a point," Edgar concluded, "as long as she doesn't overstep her boundaries." "Boundaries he'll no doubt set for her. My children played nicely together when they were young, Edgar. I don't believe that's the case anymore, especially since they are both after the same thing, Anton Oil." He was surprised that she knew about the acquisition of Anton. She seemed to know what he was thinking. "I may be crazy, Edgar, but I can still read. Anton Oil's Gulf oil spill was an unfortunate accident, but they were struggling long before that happened. That oil spill was the last straw on the back of a company that could hardly support it. Jordan's been eyeing that company for years. My daughter needs a feather in her cap. She needs to prove herself, especially to him and the board. If she can land this acquisition without the lawsuits and federal charges, she'll come out shining like a brand-new penny, and he won't be able to dismiss her so easily. That's all she wants, her brother's approval. That's all she's ever wanted." Edgar couldn't help but be impressed by her prowess. She was the matriarch of this family and wore the title like a crown. "Once again, I've been talking your ears off, Edgar," she said with a smile. "How've you been? How's that lovely young wife of yours, Bridget? Is that her name?" He was surprised she remembered. "That's her name," he said graciously. "What is she? Wife number 3? Number 4? There was a flippancy to her tone that he didn't approve of.